As long-time subscribers may have picked up on, I'm a fan of H&R revolvers. I got this one over the weekend for $100. It's a New England Firearms, which is still, it's the same company as H&R, just under different ownership. It was made in 1987, and it's a model R92. I also have an R73, which is the same gun in 32 H&R Magnum. The 32 H&R Mag version is 5 shots. This is 9 shots. This is a Buckheimer B725 holster. It slips on the belt without having to undo the belt. So I use that for guns of this size, including my little Taurus Model 85 38 Special, when I'm just around the house, So, pull the pin, swing out the cylinder. It's loaded. Now, Jim Hoff, the late H&R expert, said that this particular revolver design was designed for police forces in India. And I haven't been able to find anything else about that, but if he said it, then he definitely knew what he was talking about. He was one of the 2 foremost experts on H&R revolvers. Anyway, I have an H&R 732, which is a swing out called the Sidekick. It's a 6-shot 32 long, and it is a predecessor to this. And I actually had been kind of looking for a swing out cylinder 22 H&R. I already had a couple of pull-pin versions, and I've got videos up of those 2. But it's a neat little revolver, and when I found it at a gun show, and I had an Ivor Johnson 22 revolver with me, and they didn't want to trade, or rather they didn't want to give me enough in trade, but I was able to sell the Ivor Johnson to come up with the money to buy this, plus a couple of other things that I needed. So these are cool little revolvers though. I like them. Like any small frame 22 revolver, function is not always flawless. And when I first fired it, it did fine single action, but on double action sometimes it would kind of lock up, So what I did, it was pretty dry inside, so I put some brake free here and there. I put brake free on the center pin and on the cylinder bolt down here and the hand, and I cocked the hammer and dribbled some brake free down inside. That's what I typically do when it comes to lubing a revolver. And once I did that, it started working better. Now these things are a little bit rough, and I'd like to point out though that small frame 22s, as I said, tend to be a little bit sometimes rough in operation anyway, simply because 22s shoot dirty, and a small frame revolver doesn't have the mass that a larger frame revolver does to kind of overcome some of the resistance to movement once it gets kind of gunked up. And even larger frame, say K22 for example, might get a little bit rough to operate after you fire a bunch of rounds through it of 22. But small frames, like I've got a Charter Arms Pathfinder. It works great when it's clean, but if I don't clean it for a while, it starts getting kind of difficult to operate. And that was the case with this one because it was dry, as I said. But these are good little revolvers. You know, a lot of people put them down and look down their nose at them and so on because of their kind of, you know, because of their low price and their workmanlike quality. And they're rough and tumble little revolvers, tackle box guns, kit guns, whatever, you know, whatever you want to call them. And I like that. I've had quite a few of that genre of 22 revolvers. And, you know, these are not $600 guns. They shouldn't be expected to necessarily work like a $600 gun, but they are reliable, and this is definitely a possum living gun. This is the type of gun that a small family farmer who can't afford more would have bought in the not this version, of course, in the 60s, 50s and 60s, because this one didn't exist then, but similar H&R 22 revolvers. And 32s also. And that's who these guns are intended for, is people who aren't necessarily collectors, but who want a good, workable little 22 revolver for not much money. So with that said, and I would like to mention also another thing is, the more you shoot one of these things, the more it's going to smooth up and work better. And David Brin wrote a book about that type of deal, and he called it the practice effect, where the more you use something, the more suited it becomes for the task. Just something to think about. It's starting to rain, but let's go ahead and fire a few rounds before it gets absolutely crazy here, hopefully. The sights are not 100% on, and I'm not accustomed to exactly where it's shooting yet. So I'm having to use a little bit of Kentucky windage. They make speed loaders for these things, but I don't really need one. I'm shooting the milk jug because that's a reasonably sized target, and not having the sight spot on yet, which are non-adjustable, by the way.